Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the DCL Show, your source for Disney cruise news and reviews. Coming to you from the Bob Varley studio in Orlando, Florida, I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined in the studio this week by my good friends, John Sacherri. Say hello, John.
Hello, John. Hi, me. Hi, you.
From cdisney.com, Mr. Federico Agar.
Hola, hola.
And our producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Ahoy, hoy. And we talk so that way the podcast listeners aren't like, where is the blank void out there?
Yeah, that's for the audio only.
Oh, gotcha.
Folks. Also welcome to our Patreon supporters who are watching us record this live. And patreon.com/DizUnplugged if you want to join up and become a patron. You get to do fun stuff like this if that's fun for you. And if it is fun for you, we should probably have a discussion of some kind. But just a reminder, this show, along with all the content we produce, brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, of which I am one of the owners, just in the interest of full transparency. But if you like our content, if you like our folks, Dreams Unlimited Travel is how I pay for it. So if you could book your next Disney cruise vacation with Dreams Unlimited, I would really appreciate it. And you'll appreciate the shipboard credit and incredible service you'll get from our talented agents that will help you with every step of the process, booking and enjoying your cruise. And our shipboard credit up to $1,000. Wow. All for the same price you're going to pay Disney. If you don't book it with Dreams, you're leaving money on the table. Literally, leaving money on the table. So, all right. So we had just done a 7-night sailing on board the Fantasy. My first 7-night in a while, obviously, with everything shut down for so long. And then when I did start doing them, I was doing 3s and 4s, mainly because I think I was a little,
Check out the waters. Dip your toe in.
Dip my toe in the water, so to speak. See how comfortable I was cruising, which clearly very, since now it's been 4 cruises since October. Another one coming up next month.
Mm-hmm. Could we say that nobody we know, I think this is correct, has gotten sick? Nobody that we know, correct?
Correct. Well, at least no one that's traveled with me.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Has gotten sick, knock wood. And I'm happy about that, as opposed to being happy that I got sick. But I was interested to see if there would be a difference between my experiences on the Dream, which were stellar, and my experience on the Fantasy. And it turns out there were some changes, some differences, namely in the food. And this was really disappointing. Royal Court in specific, absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. You'll see the reviews. We filmed reviews.
A lot of reviews.
We reviewed all the restaurants. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you a preview of this particular review. The onion soup, the French onion soup, had no onions in it. Not kidding. And it was...
More importantly, there was no onion flavor.
There was no onion flavor either.
But there were not any onions in it.
It was a
beef broth soup, yeah.
A beef broth soup. And billed as French onion.
Which I've had on other ships it was amazing. It was like the best onion soup I've ever had. Not this one.
And this was the harbinger of what was to come. The food being served in Royal Court was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. And like I said, you'll see the reviews that we did. We had better meals other places, but I'm going to tell you what, the food did not rise to the level that it was on the Dream.
Would you say with the exception of Palo?
With the exception of Palo, which I thought was a little better on the fantasy.
Okay.
I think so too. Palo was better on the fantasy than the dream.
Right.
In my opinion. As well.
And I don't understand why. Identical kitchens. Same cruise line. Why can you get it so right in one and so wrong in another? It's got to come down to the chef. Because each restaurant has its own chef.
Remember what I did with the chicken breast that kind of confirmed? We did like an experiment where they have this lighter fare menu in all the restaurants for the picky people that just don't like anything on the menu. And one of the lighter fare things is a slow roasted chicken breast. So we got that from the Royal Court, and it was really pretty horrible. Forget about the mashed potatoes. We'll see that in the review. Concentrate on the chicken breast. It was hard to chew. White meat chicken is hard sometimes to cook, but not on the Disney cruise. The white meat was chewy and it was horrible and it was no good. Then I got the same exact item. I forget if it was Animator's Palette or Enchanted Garden, but it was really good and it was tender and it was the exact same lighter fare, slow roasted chicken breast, and it was great. So I think it backs up. Yes, it's the chef.
It comes down to the chef, and the chef in Royal Court left something to be desired, namely good food.
We made it known, or at least you made it known. I would be surprised if that chef is there much longer.
They kept bringing, they kept bringing people to the. I mean, the servers ask you.
They do.
What you think. We were staying concierge, and the concierge asked me what I thought. You're going to ask me what I thought. I'm going to tell you. Mm-hmm. Next thing I know, the executive chef for the ship is at my table, and I told him.
Yeah, it was consistently bad, and you can tell that is
at Royal
Court. Yeah, and you can tell that is the responsibility of the chef, because you can have in a kitchen you have the chef, which is like the director of the kitchen, and then you have different people cooking, and someone can do something not good, and then you will have a table of food with good things and just one bad thing. But ours was, during the 2 meals that we have in that restaurant, it was not good.
I want to make sure I talk about something else, though. We were able to score an upgrade into concierge. And I know a lot of people ask about how you do that. Right now, because the ships are not full, there are opportunities to upgrade. And I'm not talking about just upgrading the concierge. If you're in an inside stateroom and you want to upgrade to a veranda stateroom, the opportunity is there to do that when you get to the port. But it is about arriving as early as you can, because this is not a well-kept secret. People know about this. What?
No, I'm thinking about when you do the online check-in, you're going to be given a specific time to arrive at the port. Now, we were able to arrive early because we had an upgrade to concierge before.
Right, I paid. Okay, so just so everybody understands what would happen, I originally booked this as a travel agent rate and was going to review it, but I have a policy where I don't do that. I don't review anything I'm not paying full price for. And I was kind of going back and forth because I spent a lot of money on cruises since October and was originally going to do it, and then I said I can't. I've got to pay what everybody else pays. I figure, okay, I'll upgrade from a veranda stateroom, which I got, to a concierge veranda stateroom. And I forgot how much more money it was, but
Can I ask you a question, because I really don't know. When you say upgrade, is it less because you're doing it?
No.
It's just what you would have paid?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They charged me the difference between what I paid for my travel agent room and then the amount of money, whatever the prevailing rate was.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't cheap. They're not cheap rooms on a 7-night cruise, especially to go to concierge. But I'm like, screw it. I want to do it right. I know I'm going to review this cruise. I want to make sure I'm paying what everybody else pays. So we did that. And then I wanted to see if I could get upgraded from the concierge veranda room to like a 1-bedroom or even the Walt Disney Suite, because a friend of mine had gotten upgraded to the Walt Disney Suite the week before, the sailing before ours. And because I'm platinum and we were already staying concierge, we were able to get to the port whenever we want. This is where platinum comes in handy. So I was able to get there very early. We got to the port around 8 o'clock, 8:30. Got tested, got cleared, got through security. You go upstairs. You go to the very far right of the check-in desk, and there's the supervisor's desk, and that's where the upgrades are done. And you ask for an upgrade, they ask what kind of room you're in, and they take a look and say, okay, we have this and this and this available, and you tell them which one you're interested in, and they'll say, okay, that'll be another $2,000, or...
Different to when you want an upgrade at your hotel or your airplane, that you don't do check-in because they're going to give you a room and it's going to be more complicated. You have to check in order to get to the port, to get tested, and then after you do all those things, you can ask for the upgrade.
Right. And it just so happened the guy in front of me got the Walt Disney Suite, which was like, damn. I hated him for the rest of the cruise. Not really. But did upgrade to a 1-bedroom.
It was beautiful. I saw it.
It was sweet. It was room 12,000. And room 12,000 is dead center in the front of the ship overlooking the bow. So when I tell you it was a view that was ridiculous, because you're right under the bridge. And so you're looking straight out off the bow in the front of the ship. So kind of a cool, stateroom.
Huge space on the balcony.
Oh, the balcony was massive.
You could have had a 20-person party out there.
Yeah. Well, they asked us, like the concierge lady, if you want to have a party on the deck, let us know. And we were like, no, thank you. But
so... You know, getting the upgrade is all about how early can you get there. Because, again, this is not a well-kept secret. It's going to be even less well-kept after this goes up. But the earlier you can get there, within the time frame that you're allotted, get upstairs. Doesn't hurt to go ask. Worst they can do is say we have nothing. But you got to remember, these ships are only 30% full right now. So there are plenty of staterooms available. Plenty of staterooms available. I haven't seen that no upgrade sign, because usually what would happen is as soon as they ran out on that desk, they put up a little sign saying no more upgrades or no upgrades today. And I got very used to seeing that. I haven't seen that since I started cruising again.
My personal recommendation is that you locked in the room that you're comfortable with. So if you are okay with a veranda, then book that, and then if you want to do an upgrade, try it at the port, because you wouldn't want to have an inside stateroom and then try to get an upgrade and don't do it. So if you're going to stay 7 days, you want to make sure that you have what you want and then see if you can get an upgrade.
And the upgrade is less expensive at the port than if you had just booked it directly.
Oh, that was my question before that I was asking.
It's considerably less. It's considerably less. Now, there's no way to tell you how much less, because it varies depending on the room you have, the room you want, what's available that particular day. So there's no, I can't sit here and say, oh yeah, it'll be this much. But it is less. It is less.
So if you want to do the upgrade before getting to the port, you can check online, because the rates are going to be the same, and then you will call or email your travel agent and let her or him know that you want to do an upgrade. It's going to be the same rate. But if you do it at the port, they will stop showing the rates like 2 days before, I think.
Yeah, usually.
And then you don't have a way to see the rates. Then when you get to the port, you ask for the upgrade.
And I will say, seven-night cruises are my preferred itinerary. They are my preferred itinerary. I actually relax on a 7-night cruise. Whereas on the 3 and the 4, I'm just starting to relax and it's time to leave. Whereas 7 days, because it takes me about 3 or 4 days to chill. On a 7-night, then I've got an extra 3 days there where I stayed up on deck pretty much the entire time.
You get into a routine, yeah.
In the smoking area. Beautiful view.
It's gorgeous.
You know, open air, but, on the Fantasy, that area does have a cover where it doesn't on the Dream. So on the Dream, you bake when you're up there. And it was just like, it was my happy place. I could have a cigarette. I could relax, hang out, chat with people. They've got, Currents bars right there. So if you want to drink, for me, it was my Diet or my Coke Zero. For Federico, it was his Bloody Marys. For John, it was water.
Water. I don't know, just good old-fashioned water.
But so this one, we were very lucky because we were hearing that previous sailings were not able to stop at St. Thomas. This one went to Tortola, St. Thomas, and Castaway Key. And we were able to actually dock at St. Thomas. Now, Tortola, this was the first time I'd been to Tortola. And I didn't do an excursion. I wanted to go shopping, and I did. I shopped like too much. Got some gorgeous pieces, some gorgeous jewelry, but I spent some money. But I went there to do that. That's what I wanted to do. Now, Tortola, all of the stores are right there at the port. And this is kind of similar if you've done the Jamaica sailings, where they have that port that was built specifically. These are the worst places to buy jewelry because they don't have the competition. They don't have the competition. Normally, when you go to a port, you're in like the downtown area, they're going to have a ton of jewelry stores and the competition's stiff. And so these guys will absolutely wheel and deal. And not that they didn't deal in Tortola. They did. Just not as aggressively and not as much as they would have had it been just in a non-controlled area. Now, in Jamaica, they created this because the area outside the port really isn't safe. And the way you know that is that at the gate to the port on the inside, if you wanted to go outside, there's a guy standing there with an AK-47. And they tell you, really, don't go wandering outside by yourself in Jamaica. In Tortola, they didn't tell us that. So I'm not sure what the reason was. And I didn't, never having been there, I didn't know if there was a downtown that had jewelry stores and stuff like that. So I just stayed in the port. On St. Thomas, though, I've been to St. Thomas many, many times. They built one of these ports there with all the jewelry stores and all the different stores. But I know that Charlotte Amalie, which is the town we dock in, has a downtown area with tons of stores, tons of jewelry stores, and that's where I wanted to go. And I'm so, so, so glad I did, because the prices were so much better. Just the starting price and the negotiation a lot heavier.
And like you said, the competition, they had a lot of
They have a lot of competition.
They're basically have people hired to get you into the jewelry.
But if you happen to be going to St. Thomas and you happen to be shopping for jewelry, I'm going to tell you the place I found was Gold Mine Jewelers.
Mo
I have absolutely no affiliation with these people. Okay? I just bought stuff from them. But this guy, Mo, was his name, did some just gorgeous pieces. They did a custom ring and earring for me in blue diamonds. Prices were phenomenal. I can't complain about how good the prices were. And
all the adjustments and stuff were done there.
Right.
Where the other jewelry stores we saw were sending it out, maybe to them.
Right. There's a master jeweler on the premises who does all the work right there. And you're right. The other guys were, they were sending stuff out to be done. So having the ring sized, having the ring, done, it's a good place to go. Goldmine Jeweler in St. Thomas, right on the main drag there in Charlotte Amalie.
Good family run.
It's a nice family run business, yeah. And that's how I spent my time in Port.
And should we mention the coffee shop he sent us to?
Oh, go ahead and talk about that.
One of the things that I don't know if you know this about Pete, he's got a big heart. And Mo, the jeweler, said there was a couple of different coffee places because we wanted coffee that he could send us to, and he sent us to this back alley place called, was it My Brother's Workshop?
My Brother's Workshop.
My Brother's Workshop, and I think it was MBW, and it was a not-for-profit where kids, I guess lower income kids in St. Thomas were learning how to bake, make coffee, sell books and things. Pete went nuts over this, and he actually respected the jeweler more for recommending this place than another, than like a Starbucks. And we enjoyed it. We have some video on it too that we got from there. It was a really nice place. If you're in St. Thomas, you should go to.
Well, their mother's on the board of directors for that organization, and they were telling us in the coffee shop that Mo is in there every morning getting his coffee. So I was like, okay, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to set. There were places a little closer, but the coffee was phenomenal.
It was good, yeah.
Coffee was so
good. And knowing,
good.
That you were spending this much money and the jewelry you were wearing, you would think they would have been recommending, the most fancy coffee shop, but no, they knew this is where to send them for good coffee.
And these guys are slick salesmen. Make no mistake. But I'm going to tell you, the guy, what?
No, they were a little bit too much for my taste. Like they were like.
Most of them are.
Yeah. I wasn't interested in buying anything.
Federico got scared.
So they were like looking at me and seeing if I was wearing jewelry to see how they will approach me. And I just didn't like. I wanted to walk around and see the buildings, which is lovely. I think it's a beautiful, small like colonial.
I love St. Thomas.
And I saw the Camille Pissarro, which is a impressionist painting. I didn't know he was born there, so they have like a little museum there. It wasn't that much, but it was a nice thing to find, and a lot of coffee places. I thought it was romantic and nice to walk around. I felt safe. So.
And the storms would roll in for 2 seconds. It was the end of the world, and all of a sudden the sun would come out again.
Mm-hmm,
it was really nice.
Now, the guy that you really want with you when you are shopping for jewelry is this gentleman to my right, Mr. Sacherri.
I couldn't stand it when they give a price, and I know that Pete wants it, and he's like, okay, and I'm like, no. So I started, and I enjoy the game. I do. I enjoy. No. This is my boss.
Because I'm the world's worst negotiator. Okay, you give me a problem, like, oh, okay. I mean, I know that they'll come down on it, and I'll do that game a little bit, but then it starts getting uncomfortable. I don't know. And
I know that Pete does other things with his money. He'll go and give money to that My Brother's Workshop. Even if you're not looking, he'll do these type of things. So I figured what a good way to save some of that money and tell the guy, no, he's not buying that. I work for him and I got to tell him what to spend. You got to take $500 off. And they're like, okay. And Pete's like, okay.
No, it was something to behold. I'm not going down to the islands to go jewelry shopping without him again.
See, I insure my next vacation.
No, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I love doing that too. It was good. Very satisfying to me, and it's not my money.
What other highlights of the cruise? Those are my highlights. What are your highlights of the cruise?
To me, it was Star Wars, actually.
Me too.
Because I was very surprised.
It was Star Wars Day at Sea.
a Christmas sailing a couple of weeks ago, and I did a Halloween as well in September, and I was very disappointed both in the fantasy and the dream, and I was very disappointed because it was just some decor and the characters have their costume and that's it. So I was expecting this to be the same, the Star Wars Day at Sea, and I was very surprised with the amount of entertainment, the characters that you get to see, the interactions with the characters, all the activities, and it was something, what I really enjoy about it was that you can take advantage of a Star Wars Day at Sea, or Marvel or Pixar when they do that, and enjoy that, but you can also have other things to do if you're not interested in Star Wars. So if you want to take a break, just go have a cigarette or a drink and then come back to the whole Star Wars theme. And I was very surprised with it.
Me too. It was a bigger overlay than I thought. I thought it was going to be a quick little, all right, here's a couple of characters, that's it. I actually had an inside cabin. It was the one that we did not film, and with the magic porthole. And there was, the night before, the Death Star is there in the distance.
Well, we have a 3D tour of it.
Right, to forebode what was going on the next day. Yeah, the 3D tour of it is great too. And it was comfy, I mean, and I have to tell you, the service, yeah, they were in Concierge and they had great service. The service, even in that inside cabin, that host was fantastic. They made sure you had I didn't feel less than because I didn't have the veranda cabin. But even the Star Wars part of it goes into that fake porthole. And me, the Jawas.
Right, that was cool, seeing the Death Star.
And then all the little magical things that happened on Star Wars were Star Wars related. The Millennium Falcon would go by.
Now, you've heard me say that these rooms, the price for these rooms are yielded. The more a particular category books up, the more expensive that category gets. These inside staterooms with the virtual porthole are so popular. It is not unusual for an inside stateroom to cost more than a veranda stateroom or an ocean view stateroom. It's insane. It is insane. Even on this, because we booked it very last minute.
It was comfy.
A veranda would have been less expensive.
Wow.
A veranda would have been less expensive. And that, or maybe it was an ocean view. Might have been an ocean view was less expensive. But we had to, one of the reasons we're doing these cruises is to film the different staterooms with our 3D camera to do walkthroughs. We also got a chance to do that with Cabana on Castaway Key, and we're releasing all this stuff. We'll put links to this stuff up on...
You're going to want a Cabana. If you see the Matterport, the 3D camera, you're going to want a Cabana. It's really nice.
They do a great job, yeah. They did a great job with those.
Just getting back to the Star Wars, the characters, I just didn't know I thought it was going to be like a quick meet and greet. You take a picture, that's it. The interaction with them was so much more than I thought. C-3PO is having conversations with you. The Jawas, I really almost had to run to the restroom because they had me peeing myself. The Jawas earnestly saw my expensive DSLR and they handed me tissue like they were going to trade me for it. And watching them try to figure out what the elevator was, knocking on the door, pressing the buttons, then when they go up screaming, ah, it was really funny. It was really funny.
I'm a big proponent of the Day at Seas. I think the problem is that you could actually make them 2 days with the amount they try to pack into one. If you're a completionist, you will be exhausted by the end of the day running around to meet and greets, shows. That they did the special fireworks for Star Wars
but
2.
But it wasn't that day.
Yeah, that was a different day.
They did what?
Yeah,
I know, but they had a show. Yeah, the fireworks day, the fireworks for Star Wars were done like on day 2. It had nothing to do with Star Wars, which we thought was weird. But then Star Wars Day at Sea, they had a whole big show out on the pool area.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I was surprised because I've never done one of these before. These, Star Wars Day at Sea things or Marvel Day at Sea. Or if I did, I wasn't paying any attention.
Well, it is one day, and it is a lot in the atrium, and it's in the theaters and up on top. But you can avoid it if you want to. You don't have to get involved.
No, you can. You can. Although with Star Wars, it was a little harder because everybody was in costume or wearing something Star Wars. This makes a lot more sense to me than Star Cruiser, honestly. But I don't know. I thought it was like what I saw of it wasn't obtrusive. It wasn't. I didn't feel like it was being shoved down my throat. I was surprised it was only one day.
Me too.
I would have thought it would have been more than that, but people loved it.
Federico and I went to a class to draw, and we drew a porg, not very well. Actually, Federico's was pretty good. And yeah, they had little things you could do throughout the day. There's a few things we missed, trivia, because we didn't think we'd be any good at it.
Yeah. A lot of things we missed. We just did one thing, yeah. But that is good. I like the idea that you can, it's a small detail from your whole trip.
And even if you went to the Cove Cafe, which I love, the little desserts in there were Star Wars themed for that day. Like they did a lot of things that I didn't think they were going to incorporate into that day. They really took over.
Even the menu at dinner.
Yeah, right.
The music that you get all day.
That's true too, yeah. Even the night before, it was the foreboding Darth Vader theme Imperial March music, yeah.
It was really cool. It was really, really cool. And no mandatory fun. No mandatory fun like on Star Cruiser. So overall, I think I had
Vera.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Vera. Our servers, Eduardo and Vera. Vera is from the Ukraine. I'm sorry. Vera is from Ukraine. It's not the Ukraine. It's Ukraine.
I would have said that.
Vera is from Ukraine. And of course, while we were on the ship is when the invasion began. And so we, let her know that we were thinking of her and saying prayers for her family and stuff like that. And she was very grateful for that. But what a pro, especially the day the invasion happened. What a pro. Worried sick for her friends and her family. Never let it show. Never let it show. Sweet as could be. I do not know where Disney finds these people. I mean, this is an extreme circumstance. Your homeland is being literally invaded. Not something that happens every day, but the caliber of person that Disney seems to find for these roles. Anybody who's been on these cruises, generally speaking, you usually end up with great things to say about your service team. Your stateroom host, your head server, your assistant server. And this was no exception. These guys the service was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And the food, not so much. But the service was impeccable. And, I just wanted her to know that we were thinking about her.
She knew it. The last night, Pete hugged her. She cried, this lady. I mean, she was crying. Because here she is. She's making sure, is your soup good? But her family she lost contact with them. And it got really serious where I felt really bad. But she didn't miss a beat. And she's really, my hat goes off to her.
Yeah, and you think about stuff like that. There's a lot of cast members, crew members from Ukraine on the ship, and I can't imagine how that must feel. So keep them in our thoughts and our prayers. But what else? Anything else?
Well, the concierge team was also...
Concierge was, ridiculous.
Blanca, Jose, they were going always
Ashley.
beyond
Don't leave
Ashley.
poor Ashley out.
They were always like thinking what we needed before we even know we needed it, and going just one step ahead, and we got this for you, we're going to do this, we're going to take care of this. And it was like making even our job so easy because we were working, doing content, and they understand that we have different needs from other people, and we were not just
Karens.
relaxing, and they accommodate what they needed to do in order to make our trip better. So,
and I get asked all the time, is Concierge worth it? And I always answer the same thing. That's an individual decision. You're paying for an upgraded level of service. And if that's worth it to you, then it's worth it. And if it's not worth it to you, then it's not worth it. And either answer is right. But I had a friend of mine that was going on I was going on the 7. He was going on 3 or 4. I forgot which one, but he was on the Dream. And he said, I'm going to try for an upgrade at the port to go into Concierge. Is it really worth it? And I gave him the same answer. And he came back, he got the upgrade. And he said to me, the answer to my question is yes. It is so worth it. It's expensive. It is no question. Now, like I said before, if you can get the upgrade at the port, it's a lot more reasonable. But the level of service, the quality of Concierge on those ships, and it's fleet-wide. It's not just on one or the other. Fleet-wide, because I've done it on the Wonder, the Magic, the Dream, and the Fantasy. Absolutely superb service. And they make notes about what you like and what you don't like. And when you go from ship to ship, those notes follow you. And so they know that I like Coke Zero, so there's always Coke Zero in my refrigerator. Although I changed rooms at the last minute, so it wasn't there when I got in the room, but I understood that. I mean, I yelled at them. I'm kidding. I did not.
I yelled at them.
But, and also, like, it's not a guarantee, but if you didn't get that Palo brunch reservation, or the Remy reservation, or the Cabana, your best bet is Concierge. If anybody can get it for you, it's them. They can't guarantee it. But
and speaking of Palo, Mateo and Paolo.
Oh yeah, go ahead and talk.
Just we had. I mean, listen, Palo to me is always amazing. So I really do look at what Pete says a little bit to see, is this always like this? Because it's amazing. But we had a Chef Mateo who came out to the table a few times. I got some film on him you'll see in the review. And he was just fantastic. And the server, it was like above and beyond anything. I love how they have to approach you from a specific side, even if it's blocked by like your chair, my body, the camera. They will make sure they get you. It's just proper. And Paolo from Palo, P-A-U-L-O. Paolo, right. He was great. He was a great server there.
Like Paulo.
They did special things for us too.
Yeah, no, it was, service was phenomenal across the board. Our stateroom host.
And even mine, who wasn't concierge, I felt the level of service.
Go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, even if you're not doing concierge, the level of service is above and beyond what you experience at the parks, for sure.
I did the Fantasy 4 months ago, a non-concierge, and I think the service in the main dining rooms or in Palo was the same. That's a good thing, that they don't treat you differently because you're concierge. You just get an extra help with a different staff of people who are there to help you with whatever you need. So it's not...
Yeah. So it was a wonderful cruise. I highly recommend it. Sorry, I'm going to... I highly recommend it. Manage your expectations with the food in the main dining rooms on the Fantasy, but there are some great rates out there for it if you're interested. Of course, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. One of our agents can help you find the right cruise for you, and that is going to do it for this episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next time.